Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on arguably the biggest Snotklap that the Minister of Agriculture has received over the last 2 years. And the reason I say that is because the Gauteng High Court came down with the interim order that makes John Steenhuisen look terrible as the Minister of Agriculture. There's no other way of trying to sugarcoat it. And the irony in all of this, and what I would argue is very sad, is that even now the minister doesn't seem to understand what the interim court order actually states. And what makes this very frustrating for South Africans and especially farmers is that if the minister swallowed his pride and acknowledged that he doesn't know everything, then we could have saved months in what is arguably the worst livestock disaster in recorded South African history. So, despite us facing this terrible livestock disaster, the minister still, even today, does not really understand what the court verdict is. And ultimately, because of his arrogance and ignorance, this has cost farmers months that is critical during this foot and mouth disease outbreak. But like I said, the court order came out and it vindicated SAAI. It vindicated a lot of farmers that said, what exactly is preventing us from taking matters into our own hands and vaccinating our herds? Well, then John came out and said, well, there is legislation from 1986, and then there's also this new regulations that we are working on, which was delayed, by the way. It was supposed to be released on the 1st of Jan or early in Jan, and then by April, it was delayed. And that caused massive frustration for farmers because they're saying, all right, you're saying we can't vaccinate our own herd, even though we don't really agree with you because that legislation is very vague from 1986. And now you are preventing us with this new regulation that you promised us in January, but it's already March at that time, and this regulation was still not available. So the minister and his department was delaying people from vaccinating their herd in the worst outbreak of foot and mouth disease in recorded history in South Africa. Now I'm going to show you what John Steenhuisen had to say with regards to the interim order being handed down. But before I do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything, as will smashing the like button and sharing this video. It won't cost you anything, so it'll be greatly appreciated. All right, let's have a look at what John has to say. All right, so the Minister, John Steenhuisen, says, I note the interim order handed down by the Gauteng Division of the High Court relating to the procurement and administration of foot and mouth disease vaccines. I note that the practical effect of the matter is now largely overtaken by the gazetted Section 10 Animal Health Scheme. Yeah, thanks to the delays, though. I mean, like, this is just you trying to save face when the whole reason you were taken to court is because the Section 10 was taking so long and because you were preventing farmers from taking matter into their own hands. So well done on this own goal. He says, which already provides a lawful framework for participation by private industry role players in the national vaccination effort. Well, this wasn't in place until you guys actually gazetted it in May, early May, the 4th of May, which is 5 months later than what you told the farmers that you will gazette these regulations. But once again, not taking responsibility, not taking ownership for your own failures. Typical. Government has consistently supported a coordinated public-private approach to combating foot and mouth disease. Yeah, that's bullshit. Millions of vaccines have already been allocated to organized industry structures, including the Milk Producers Organization. And okay, now he's just going on and on and on, but he's avoiding the obvious fact of the court order. And it's all good because Francois, who is the CEO of SAAI, came out and says this is either a stroke or nuclear denial, but the fact is the man cannot read for comprehension. And he's responding to John Steenhuisen's interpretation because, as you can see over here, it says, in respect of said respondents' apparent relying on the provisions of the newly gazetted scheme, the applicants contended that the said scheme does not outright prohibit privately administered vaccinations, which is what they were arguing from the start. And John and them were saying, no, 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 you can't do this. And then it goes on to say, at best, it provided for voluntary participation in the scheme, where such participation was voluntary. Those participants were obliged to comply with the stipulated requirements. It is to be noted that, as recorded earlier, where there is no specific promulgated law against privately administered vaccinations, such privately vaccinations may be undertaken. So even now, John Steenhuisen either doesn't get it or he is acting dumb. And these days, it's very difficult to disseminate between the two, which is actually taking place. Because when they went to court, and when I say they, I'm talking about SAAI, and well done to SAAI and all the unions that participated in this. When they took it to court, their argument was that there is actually no law preventing us from doing this. And then the minister and them came and said, well, there is the 1986 law and then this regulation that we're working on now. And then they argued and said, well, because it's not been implemented yet, therefore it's not law and you can't implement this. And then the court in the ruling, this interim ruling, acknowledged that there is no legal framework that is preventing farmers from taking matters into their own hands. Now, this is something that could have been done in January already, arguably in November, December. So the important thing here, and the reason that this is so crucial, is the fact that this is the worst case of foot and mouth disease in recorded history in South Africa. Time is of the essence. And the fact that the minister and his department caused this delay of 5 to 6 months of just allowing farmers to vaccinate their own herd. And now after the court has said what SAAI and farmers have been saying from the start was correct and what you were saying is wrong, minister, with him now acknowledging, saying, oh, but actually we have been proven right. Bullshit. You should have allowed farmers to vaccinate their own herds in November, December already, and thousands of cattle and tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of rands could have been saved. But because of your inaction or because of your delay, this has caused a lot of farms to go under. This has caused a lot of panic. It's caused a lot of frustration for many farmers. And the fact that you, as the agricultural minister, even now can't acknowledge that you were wrong really speaks volumes. And I don't want to make this broader than that, but, the DA promised that they were going to offer something radically different to the ANC. But the minister here has doubled down on state control, and he has arguably done worse than his predecessor with this foot and mouth disease outbreak, because he prevented farmers from taking control. Somebody that's not a farmer dictating to farmers what they should do. This is not going to end well for John Steenhuisen or the Democratic Alliance come the November elections, because I believe that after everything that John Steenhuisen has done when he was the leader of the DA, what he said in the White House, his private credit card situation, the DA's credit card situation, preventing farmers from vaccinating their own herds, this guy is a one-man wrecking ball that has done more damage to the DA than any opposition party could have done on their own. So I suppose congratulations is in order if you are somebody that is also frustrated with what the DA has done and what the minister has done. And congratulations at least to the farmers that can now just apply common sense, something that should have been able to have been implemented many, many months ago. So congratulations to SAAI, to Francois Rousseau, to Theo de Jager, and everybody that played a part in taking the minister and his department to court. This truly is a hollow victory. Farmers might be celebrating, but it's almost like a little bit too late. And all of this due to the minister's arrogance or ignorance. Don't know which one, maybe both. But yeah, congratulations to SAAI and the farmers. And now with the state out of the way, hopefully we can get rid of this foot and mouth disease outbreak and sort it out once and for all. But with that being said, that's all I've got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe, It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. However, if you'd like to support my channel, you can support it financially by two ways. You can either give a super thanks. You can look for the $ below, choose an amount, and thank you for that. Or you can become a member to this channel by clicking the join button below, and that comes with its own perks. And you can check that out by clicking the join button. And that's all I got to say, everybody. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.